Switch. Let's go.
Hello there, I'm Big Ali. This has been a while since I did that dumb intro that's not cool in any way. And I'm taking a slight break from the Playing Some series, which is great. I mean, I've always wanted to make a sort of series on YouTube, and the name Playing Some harkens back to videos that I made that nobody who is watching this would have seen. Well, I wanted to make a series called Playing Some, and I never really was able to commit to any sort of direction that I wanted to take the series in, but this time I've decided to just go with it, and it's great. But I don't want to talk about that today. That's not important, because what you can see in front of your eyes that are connected to your face, that's a weird thing to say. What you can see in front of you is Modern Warfare 2, and this game is so great. I decided to get back into Modern Warfare 2 and just pick it up from a local store that will remain unnamed. But if you can rearrange the letter CEX to make the name CEX, then that's where I got it from. And I got it super cheap, and I wanted to give it a try because I knew that the Modern Warfare trailer would be coming out, and I have such fond memories of the game. I know that I did have slight issues with the game back then, but I had been playing some Modern Warfare 3, and I kept thinking to myself, why am I not playing the better version of this? And before I talk about the Modern Warfare trailer, I just kind of want to I want to explain exactly how I got to the point of watching this Modern Warfare trailer, because my channel, the very origin of how my channel got legs was with Modern Warfare 3, and it was the first sort of serial conflict I had on my channel, which was just my dislike for Modern Warfare 3 and the direction it had gone in. And I know a lot of people are going to dislike me saying that and not like the fact that I'm saying that Modern Warfare 3 wasn't a great game, because Call of Duty takes this weird path of, whether or not people like certain games, where it has to have been out for a while, usually around about 4 or 5 years, before people go from absolutely hating it and thinking it's the worst thing ever to loving it and adoring it and wishing the series would go back to that way. And I think the biggest example of that we're seeing right now is Ghosts, because now Ghosts has been out for I think 6 years at this point almost. So now suddenly people are saying it's the greatest Call of Duty ever. Well, let me tell you, if you weren't a gamer during that time and you think that Call of Duty Ghosts is the greatest thing ever, nobody was thinking that when it came out. It was one of the most disliked Call of Duty games ever made. People hated the ranking system, the giant maps, the fact that it felt just like every other Infinity War game that came before it. And actually, I'm going to blow people's minds, and I'm going to piss a lot of people off too. You can say exactly the same for Black Ops 2. People didn't like Black Ops 2 when it came out, and suddenly people love it. And I think people should prepare. Advanced Warfare is coming next. People are going to suddenly start saying that they love the jetpack system and they love the advanced parkour. And Advanced Warfare is such an underappreciated Call of Duty. And I'm already beginning to see slight sprinkles of that on the internet, with people saying that it was underappreciated and stuff like that. Advanced Warfare was a horrible, horrible game. But speaking of horrible games, Modern Warfare. Okay, it wasn't horrible, but Modern Warfare 3, why did I dislike Modern Warfare 3? Well, see, the reason I'm playing Modern Warfare 2 is because I consider Modern Warfare 2 to be the quintessential Call of Duty game. Despite the fact that I preferred Black Ops 1, I do think that Modern Warfare 2 is the quintessential Call of Duty experience. It's a modern Call of Duty with a campaign. I think Black Ops 1 was where the campaigns began to sort of prioritize cinematic value over things like suspense and realism and a grounded campaign. And I think that's why Modern Warfare 3 kind of was chopped up, kind of Nolan Memento style, all over the place and piecing things together for cinematic value, quote unquote. And yeah, I think Black Ops was when things really started to change, despite the fact that I love it so much. I think it's a masterpiece. This was a masterpiece too. I think Modern Warfare 2, what made Modern Warfare 2 so brilliant was that it was so smooth, the animations were so beautiful, the graphics were fantastic, and I really wanted to love Modern Warfare 3. And I'll say now, the last time I got excited about a Call of Duty trailer was Modern Warfare 3. That was the last time that I saw a trailer and it got me buzzed, and I couldn't wait for the game. And that was the last time, which is about 8 years ago, that Call of Duty was able to do that, to me. It was the last time it was able to stimulate some sort of buzz. And I don't know whether Black Ops 2... not being able to stimulate that buzz was because Modern Warfare 3 wasn't my kind of game, or whether it was because Halo 4 was coming out. I think it was a little of both. But the reason I didn't like Modern Warfare 3 as much as I didn't like it was because I wanted to be a part of that Modern Warfare 2 era, and despite the fact that I was a gamer when it came out, I was all about Halo, and I played so much Halo 3, and to this day, you know, Halo 3 is the greatest game I've ever made, but I did still feel some sort of remorse for not being a part of that, playing just endless hours and days and days and days and unlocking everything and learning everything about it. And I felt remorse for that because Modern Warfare 2 was such an iconic era for Call of Duty. And I know Black Ops 1 was a big era for it, and I played a lot of it, but I felt as though I really missed out by not being a part of the Modern Warfare era. So when they announced Modern Warfare 3, I really wanted to get into it, and I really wanted to like it, which is why when those trailers came out and, you know, all of this hype is building around it, I was a part of that, and I was really excited about the game coming out and getting lost in this game, which is why I think I would have been okay if it was as good as Modern Warfare 2, if it looked and felt exactly the same as Modern Warfare 2, only with a different story and new maps and new guns, and I honestly would have been okay with it. What I wasn't okay with was what I got when I first played this game, and I still have this vivid memory in my mind, this vivid moment where I pulled out a pistol, and I think it was on a map, I think it was called Village, it was set in a shanty town, and I pulled out a pistol, and I looked at the arms, and I thought, what the bloody hell's going on there? And everything was so disproportionate. The hands were, I mean, if you were holding your hands like that, your hands would reach your eyes. I mean, the arms were so huge, and the pistol was so small. I think it was a revolver, but the gun was so small. And then I sprinted, and I thought, what the bloody hell is this animation? And then I switched to my other weapon, which I think was a G36C, something like that, banana, watermelon, potato. But and the animation on that was so horrible, I really disliked it. And by the end of the game, the game itself, things like the health system and that felt great. But I didn't like the map, and I hated the way that the game felt, you know. And this, what made Modern Warfare 2 so great for me, you know, how smooth the gameplay was. Things like the animations flowed so perfectly with the game itself, and I think that's because of the team behind it. The sprint animation was so, it flowed. It just gave the gun two things, and it gave the gameplay two things. The first thing was momentum. Yeah, the way that the animations worked in Modern Warfare 2, everything felt like a smooth transition. Like I'm standing or I'm walking, and then I go into a run, and it feels as though it should have happened. And when I reload, most of the reload animations for Modern Warfare 2 was to pull the gun to the side, slip a mag out, and then put another one in. And that felt slick and smooth, and it was part of what made the game so buttery smooth and so addictive and so great. Modern Warfare 3 threw all of that out of the window, and I really don't know why. The sprint animation, it's a very specific issue, which is why I think my opinion on this is very subjective and not objective, despite the fact that I think objectively Modern Warfare 3 is a worse game. My opinion on this is very subjective in that I so passionately dislike the sprint animation for Modern Warfare 3, which then influenced a lot of the sprint animations that came after it, that it alone was enough to make me hate the game. Because I was thinking about the sprint animation in Modern Warfare 3 while I was playing Modern Warfare 2, and I realized it would have made things worse. It felt as though sprinting in Modern Warfare 3, there was a process that happened before you sprinted. You know, in Modern Warfare 2, it did feel as though you just move forwards and then you move faster and you hold your gun to the side, and it felt there was momentum to it. And the second thing about the sprint animation being that way is that it gave the weapons more weight, because when you sprint and the gun, and you probably don't realize this, but honestly this is happening, when you sprint and the gun covers the whole camera and moves across your eyes from left to right, it makes the gun seem bigger and gives the gun more weight, which is important to the gameplay. Having guns that feel small and light and as though they're not making much of an impact takes so much away from the overall quality of the game. The sprint animation in Modern Warfare 3 feels as like you pull your gun to the bottom, then you move, then you stop, and everything felt very rigid. And that made it feel more tacky to me, and it took away a level of polish. And I'm someone who, number one, and I know a lot of people can disagree with this, number one on my list of what's important with the game is presentation, and the way that the game looks and sounds, and number two is gameplay. And both of those things were worse in Modern Warfare 3 than in Modern Warfare 2. And I think a lot of people liked Modern Warfare 3 because of things like health and how weapons behaved and things like that. But to me, the most important things are how it feels to play, and the most important aspects of that are presentation and gameplay. So that's why I didn't like Modern Warfare 3 as much. But I was so hyped for it and so let down after the trailer that it kind of spoiled things for me after that. And I think the reason I explained that, and the reason why I talked about why Modern Warfare 2 is the quintessential Call of Duty experience, it has the right timeline for the weapons to be both believable and interesting and totally customizable in ways that matter. Heartbeat sensors, red dot sights, things like that, things that don't exist in the World War games, and things that aren't so silly and bizarre that it just kind of takes away from it being important to me, like in the more futuristic games. So you have that, you have the buttery smooth gameplay that went away after Black Ops 1, where Activision or whoever was in charge just started messing with the sprint animations and things like that to make things seem faster and stickier rather than something that flows and feels good. And by the way, none of this is just coming out of nostalgia. This isn't just because I like those old styles of games or because it takes me back to a better time. I genuinely think that Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 1 played better than any military shooter, aside from stuff like Halo and Bad Company 2, that came after it. I just think it was just so much smoother, and all of these elements came together to make something that I still prefer playing to this day. I'm not just speaking out of nostalgia because I have Black Ops 4 and I have World War 2 and stuff like that. I have the discs and I can put them in my disc tray, and I'm putting Modern Warfare 2 in, not because I feel nostalgic, but because I think the game just plays better. I think it has a better flow to it. And, just for the record, if they made a game where, if they managed to capture how it feels to use these guns in Modern Warfare 2, and if they were able to catch that feeling, and use those animations again and things like that, then I would fall head over heels in love with that game, but they don't, and I don't. So Modern Warfare has kind of been a bumpy road for me. I really like COD 4 and I love Modern Warfare 2. As I said, quintessential Call of Duty experience. Modern Warfare 3 I think was still fun, and I think going back to it I have a better time now because I have the perspective of everything after it being even worse. Well, not everything, but a lot of games after it being even worse. And the fact that there's not as much of a high stakes thing as it isn't, the current Call of Duty. So I have a great time playing it now, but nowhere near as good a time as I do with Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 1 and sort of things came before it. So that is exactly where I am with Call of Duty. I mean, anyone who follows this channel will know that I kind of, everything after that was, it just kind of went downhill. I mean, I was slightly excited for Black Ops 2, hoping that it was a return to form. For me, it wasn't. Ghosts went even further down into the depths of making things just more tacky and removing good presentation for the sake of things feeling sticky and fast and tight. And then obviously you had the advanced movement, which I despised. Modern Warfare 2 was a bit of a claw back, but no, sorry, World War 2 was a bit of a claw back. But I think having the game set in World War II was its biggest problem because you can't really do as much with the environments and with the weapons. And Black Ops 4, despite having great gameplay, I think suffered from a total lack of content. So where are we with Modern Warfare? It's exactly that. I mean, it's a series that I like to play. But Modern Warfare is a series that I think is the most important to me series of Call of Duty, because Black Ops completely killed itself. I mean, Black Ops 1 is my favorite Call of Duty game, but Black Ops 2 is good, and 3 just completely eradicated any love I have for the franchise, and then 4 just put the final nail in its coffin. So Modern Warfare, I do like it. It's kind of what I consider to be the quintessential Call of Duty experience, series. Sub-series, I guess, from within the series, and I think it's very important to Call of Duty. So how did I feel going into it? Well, exactly like that. I mean, cautious, not really optimistic, but it would have been good. I slightly hopeful. It would have been good for it to be something that is great and something that feels like Call of Duty. But given that Modern Warfare 3, that did feel like Call of Duty, just worse, came out 8 years ago, and everything after it didn't really feel like Call of Duty at all. Pessimistic, I must say, definitely pessimistic going into the trailer. Well, after seeing the trailer and after not being, I hadn't felt hyped since after a Call of Duty trailer for 8 years, I'm so shocked to say I really liked it. It feels weird. It's a strange feeling watching a Call of Duty trailer and being hyped after it and excited for what's coming next. I don't really know how to compose myself. This is so strange. I haven't felt this way since I was 17 years old. So hyped for a Call of Duty. I can't wait for this game to come out. The trailer is fantastic, and I know it didn't show off any gameplay, but the important part is that they tonally nailed it, which they haven't done since Modern Warfare 3. They had tonally nailed exactly what they should have done for Modern Warfare, and I think it was such a shame with Black Ops 4 where the trailer just didn't suit the Black Ops series or sub-series at all. Well, this really does, and I'm so shocked to be saying this, but despite the lack of gameplay, they have everything they needed to produce in this trailer, and I am so shocked and so just surprised by this. They have a eastern section, so it's sort of deserty stuff, and I'd imagine some sort of like Iran or Syria or Afghan, something like that. They have revolts, like revolutions. They have a little bit of politics mixed in with huge explosions. They have it's the right era. There are old characters returning, which we haven't seen in quite a while, to be honest. A woodland section that's all stealthy, and we haven't seen tactical Call of Duty stuff shown on a trailer since I don't even know when. It's been so long. All of those things sort of returning to the general tone of Call of Duty has just got me incredibly excited, and I think I'm going to let my guard down. I think for the first time since Modern Warfare 3, I'm going to let myself get excited for a Call of Duty game. I'm going to do it. And screw all of the problems and all of the issues that I made so many videos about and I had such a problem with last year. I'm going to forget about that. I'm going to be optimistic and hopeful, and I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm enjoying it now. I've seen the trailer several times, and every time I love it. It's just making me really happy, and that's how I want to continue with my path to Modern Warfare 4 or Modern Warfare. Whether or not it's good, I think we'll probably see some gameplay soon, and then I can judge my real opinion on that and what they're going to do with it. I've heard that they're heading in the right direction, and they're doing away with things like supply drops and season passes, which would be great, but this is Activision we're dealing with, and I think you'd be a bit of a fool to remain optimistic with regards to that. But maybe we should. I mean, look, gaming is kind of coming back up. It's sort of resurrecting itself. We have things like the new Star Wars game. I can't remember the name of it. Fallen Order, something like that. And EA's making these promises that we're not going to fuck you over, and Activision saying we're not going to fuck you over. And if that remains as it is, then I'm hopeful for the future of gaming. And thankfully, Modern Warfare being a story, it's such a contrast from last year, where we're taking up the campaign and we're going to tack on this battle royale mode, and maybe it works for them, but just seeing that such a move away, such a huge leap away from what makes a Call of Duty game, and then returning to the grassroots. This is a narrative, a story-focused game that's all about the characters and tactics and what goes on with people like Price and the war and things like that. It makes me really optimistic and very excited for Modern Warfare. And one of the craziest things this trailer has done is what it's done to the community. It's really strange. It's so weird seeing this, but everybody's kind of on board with this. Everybody's happy with this trailer, and you have to believe me. As someone, I don't think I've ever seen an overall positive response like this to a Call of Duty trailer ever. I mean, I jumped on the bandwagon with Black Ops 1, and I think that it was overall positive, but this, I've seen so much positive feedback. So many people are gung-ho for this and on board with it, and it's strange. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this with regards to the response. People like to berate Call of Duty, and kind of rightfully so. The launch trailers for Call of Duty games have been awful for so long, and I can't remember a time when people were so excited about a Call of Duty game. It feels great. It feels really positive, and it's so strange to see so much positive energy surrounding a Call of Duty game. But it's fantastic. I love it. It's really good, and I'm happy to be a part of that. Unlike last year, where I was so down on it, and so many people were down on it because they refused to put a campaign in a game they spent 3 years on. It's really good to be part of that positive energy. It's fantastic. So my overall thoughts, for the first time in years, I'm excited for a Call of Duty game. Who knows? It could suck. It might suck. But at least it will have a campaign. So I'm 90% sure that I will be picking up this game if just for the sake of playing the campaign. I mean, you know, I do love the campaigns, and that was the main conflict with Black Ops 4 for me, was that if there isn't a campaign and the gameplay sucks, what reason do I have to get it? Well, luckily the gameplay was good, and I was feeling great when I got it, so I did pick it up. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Modern Warfare. Let me know what you think in the comments if you want to do that. And let me know if you're excited for the future of Call of Duty and gaming as a whole, or if you disagree with me. If you do, I'd like to have a conversation in the comment section, because this is something that interests me a lot, not just with regards to gaming, but how we treat things like, I mean, this is a very nostalgic trailer, and this is, you know, quote unquote a return to form, and how we respond to things like that I find very interesting. So let me know what you think, and I guess I will see you later. I just pulled my mic. I will see you later for probably some playing some. And I don't know what I'm going to play. It would be nice if I could play Modern Warfare, but it comes out in October, so I guess this is an awful ending to the video. I've never been good at endings. In that sense, I'm a lot like Alfred Hitchcock. In every other sense, I mean, not at all.